What's going on, good people? We are here. It is 6:05, and welcome to the Booth Shop. You know who I am. I'm Dr. Antwan Brown, your trusted host. I'm just so happy to be here 2 weeks later. We even got a guest tonight. I love having guests. I mean, y'all don't have to listen to me talk all the time. So we'll get into our guest a little bit later. Let's do some housekeeping, though. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Hit that subscribe. It's somewhere. I think it's right here. It's red. Make sure you hit it. Follow me on Instagram. Make sure you follow me on TikTok at Mr. Resource Guy. My Instagram is elect_Antwan C. Brown. Instagram is elect_Antwan C. Brown. Follow me on TikTok, Mr. Resource Guy. Housekeeping's done. All done. That's all I wanted to do. We're growing this population. I'm giving all of the local politics stuff that I got. Now, remember, guys, when you're watching my station and watching my show, we talking about different things that it may seem a little different than your local stuff, but it's around the same concepts and the same things that we got going on. You have a board of elections somewhere. It might be your city council. It may be your county council. It may be your mayor's office. So most of the things that you listen to, it doesn't really matter what state or what city you in. It's just you have to figure out how your local politics is structured. The goal of this show is to make sure you get information about Prince George's County and their local government, but also learn the processes and things to understand how to vote, how to find your elected officials, how to put up a request or a comment to your elected officials, what's important to you in your city, so you can start being engaged and active. As I realized as I got older, when I was in my 20s and 30s, I really didn't care. And I should have cared a little more, but I didn't care. Now that I'm in my 40s, even when I was in my 30s, I realized, like, man, stuff like trash pickup matters. Stuff like snow removal in my neighborhood matters. Stuff like, okay, if the school system shuts down, who can I call to babysit? And then especially COVID over the last 2.5, 3 years now, how do I get that information? And if some money is not, or some resources is not given to our area, who do I call to make sure that those resources are good? So my everyday life and it's not affected by things out of my control when it comes to not being able to tell who's going to pick up this garbage that's been in front of my house for the last 2-3 weeks. So I'm just here to be that resource guy. I like calling myself the resource guy. I'm going to keep calling myself the resource guy. And the booth shop is where we get to talk about all that good stuff. So let's get into, I think last show I showed you how to find your elected officials. So let's get into this next video and I'm going to kind of walk you through what that looks like and how you can find it in the state of Maryland. Now, remember, when you go to Google and you search your state and your city, it may look a little different. So you got to here's some things you can look for. It might not be set up the same way, but it's still ways that you can find it and maneuver through that particular site or make the phone call so you know who could do it. So let's get into this portion. So it's just a quick overall. Make sure Google's our best friend. Make sure you go do a quick Google search. So we're going to look up the Maryland Board of Elections. So we're going to walk you through that. We talked about this on the last video, so you can go back and watch that too. Here we're going to click the Maryland State Board of Elections, and we're going to walk through all these different topics here. You got quick links. So we're just trying to find out where we vote and what our services are. So here are some things that's saying you need to be privy to, where We got the voter lookup location. It asks for your street name, your street number, your street name, the zip code, and make sure you click I'm not a robot so it can actually follow through. When you're actually looking for how you vote, you go through that site. You can also request a mail-in ballot because we do mail-in ballots in Maryland. So we're going to walk you through it a little bit. Here is your name, your first name, your last name, your date of birth, and your zip code. Not going to put all this stuff in because it's kind of private. We don't want you to do it. But once you click all that, it brings you here to voter lookup. And here are some things that's on there. My registration record, my voting center information, my voting districts, the local board election information, and how you can get what's your status on your provisional or your mail-in ballot. Here, if you look, here's all the districts and congressional districts, the councilmatic districts, circuit court of appeals, that all the numbers that I need for when it's time to vote. So I'm in District 8 on the school board. I'm in District 8 in my county council. I'm in 26 for my senator and my delegate. And here's the local board of elections address and telephone number if you still confused. And then here, once again, down there, you can do look for your provisional and your mail-in ballot. You can also get your voter registration card if you want to have one physically on you, or if you lose it, you can request it or print it out. So just real quick, I do some little housekeeping to show you. This video will be up for you so you can go back and watch and kind of maneuver through those things. Quick and simple, nice and easy. All those things are on the Maryland General Board of Election. And in my county, Prince George's County has a Board of Election, and their site is also there for some resources. So you'll be able to find out all the things you need so you can be ready to vote when it's time. Or if you just want to be knowledgeable about the districts and what district you're in. So if somebody comes up to you and say, hey, I'm running for state delegate in the 20s, you could be like, well, what district you in? And I could be like the 26th district. And you can say, oh, wow, that's my district. What are you going to do for me, Mr. Brown? And I'll be like, I got you. Here's some things. Go to my website, which is antwancbrown.com. Look on those things, and you can follow me on Instagram at elected_Antwan C. Brown. Follow me on TikTok at Mr. Resource Guy. All these sites will give you information about the things that I'm doing, the services that I want to provide. And when I become your next delegate, it'll be things that we can talk about more, and you can keep the resources coming and feel connected to what we have going on in Annapolis. So that's it about that. That is, before we get into the good stuff with our guests, like to give you a couple housekeeping and some of the things that we've been doing so you can find how to be an educated voter in your city, in your state, and in your local elections. So let's go. All right, now that that's over, let's get to the meat of the conversation. Let's talk to our next guest, Mr. Black Zach, sir. How are you? It's good to see you, my brother. I'm loving the shirt.
What's up, brother? How you doing today?
All is good.
That's always
man. All is good. I played golf earlier. I lost my keys on the golf course, so I was rushing to get to you, but I made it. I had the car towed here, rushed downstairs, get myself ready. But I wasn't gonna miss this interview today. I was gonna make sure I talked to my man because I'm proud of you, bruh. I'm always excited to see what you've done with how things have grown. But we'll talk about that in a minute. So I got two questions for you first early on, and then we'll get to the good stuff. All right?
Talk to me.
All right. The first question is: tell my guests and my people on my show how you met me, where you know me from, and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, Dr. Brown, we met via Facebook. I started a clothing company in support of our alma mater, Livingstone College, right? I just got tired of going to basketball games and other social events like homecomings, and we don't have anything to commemorate these events. Right, so I say, hey man, you know what? I'm gonna design some T-shirts, and we're gonna make it happen. So, Dr. Brown was a very integral part of the Stone clothing like really taking over the campus at Livingstone College. He was able to bridge that gap from the older classes to the newer classes, like my class of '08 and on up. And so, he reached out to me and, basically told me he was proud of what, myself and my business partner were doing and how could he assist. And from there, he has been definitely an integral part in us growing our brand over the past 3 years. I honestly don't know how we would have taken off, with other classes had he not been vocal with, bridging that gap. So that's how we met. And since then, I owe him a shirt, and we're gonna get that situated and taken care of because we've had a couple of releases, and because of all the support, we always sell out, and I'm never able to get him one. So I have some here in the back, as you can see. So I'm gonna be able to take care of you this time and get you situated, my brother.
Man, I do it because I always tell people Livingstone saved my life. So if
Right.
anybody's here to support the Stone, man, like you come highly referenced. Because if you wasn't somebody who character was good, you was a good brother, and we knew you was genuine about it, or you wasn't out here just trying to make a dollar, I never would have put my brand on the line for you. But you came, I did my research first. I called around like, who is this guy? Like, what is he about? He was like, nope. Tia said, nope. That's my little brother. I love him. She said he good. I said okay. That's all I needed to hear. So
Oh yeah, Tia, that's the homie.
yeah.
Tia, me and Tia became brother and sister. One summer, um, I was stuck in Salisbury, playing football. So I was like, I'm gonna stay in Salisbury and work out and do the right thing instead of coming back to Kansas City. And so, like, times were hard, being a college student, not really having a job. So, I'm not gonna lie, I struggled, to eat some days. And Tia seen that, right? And so, like, one day she calls me, like, hey, open up your door. And she comes in with, like, $300 or $400 worth of groceries. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? She's like, look, I'm not gonna sit here and watch you starve. So look, we'll keep the groceries over here. I got enough food in my house for me and my kids. I'll just come over and we'll eat dinner as a family every night. So that's how me and Tia became cool. And since that, like, Tia and I are like this, man. That is definitely my sister. So you called the right person to get a reference about me. If there's anybody you gonna call and know about me, it's definitely Tia.
Yeah. Listen, if she was supporting you, she got me because it's my sister too. We go back to college days, but we'll leave Tia business out of college. We had a good time in college, so it's
Right.
but like I said, but the Stone is so small, so intimate when it comes to friends and family because we kind of intertwine. We don't blur the lines sometimes. Like we got people we don't like, but every family member got people they don't like, right? Like, but
Right.
but if you went to the Stone, all I know is you went to the Stone. So good, bad, or ugly, you was a part of this family. We try to do what we try to do. So I'm
Pretty
once
much.
again,
Pretty much that's it, man.
yeah.
That's how it goes.
So I go. So once again, I'm proud of you, bro. I saw it from the jump. I saw when you was what you was doing. I didn't know I helped you bridge though. All I knew was I needed my alumni to make sure they had this on because this was the toughest shirt, and I ain't gonna say that. This was the toughest shirt that I've seen in my 22 years of being a Livingstonian.
Well, I
Toughest.
mean, our slogan: "Do all things with love, but be fresh while doing it." So, first impressions are a mug. So, we want to make sure that not only are you able to represent Livingstone College, in only the Blue Bear way, but you got to make sure that you look good while doing it. What did Dion say? If you look good, you play good, man.
Absolutely. So I
So
definitely rock. I know one of my friends from from Lincoln is watching and always making. I was like, but y'all don't have this. Like y'all got everything else. It's cool, but you don't have a Stone shirt. So well,
Well, what we're looking to do is we're actually looking to branch out, and we're actually looking. What we figured out is that for smaller schools, HBCUs, right? There's never really enough support. You always get support from the bigger HBCUs, from your Howards, your Hamptons, your North Carolina A&Ts, your Grambling, your Southerns, right? And now Jackson State, right? So those are always going to be the forefront of when you say HBCUs. Everybody's going to always flock to them. But, these smaller schools, we're the blue collar portion of the HBCU sector. We're really at the grassroots level, right? A lot of your lawyers and doctors and teachers, politicians come from smaller HBCUs. So we wanted to give not just Livingstone, we're not just wanting to give Livingstone a sense of pride, but HBCU going to an HBCU is a family, right? It's family oriented. So we're here to start to venture off to possibly work with other schools so they can have some memorabilia that they can feel good about. And, when they go to their events, their social events, or when they're out in their prospective lives, that they can wear their school colors with pride and with style.
Like, and I know we talked about, you mentioned a little bit earlier how you got it started because, of course we didn't have it like you doing it, right? So how do you plan on bridging that gap? But before you answer that question, right? Let me go back. Tell the people how they find you. Tell the people the name of the clothing line, the store, all that good stuff. Because we want to put that up there too, so they make sure they know how to get you.
All right. Well, first off, you can catch me. You can catch the clothing line at the Stone Clothing. So that's the_Stone_clothing. If you click the link in the bio, it'll take you right to our online store. And the online store was created by my business partner, Antwan Blunt. He has a online business, I guess you would call it a boutique, called Crimson Kings. And since then, he's able to add the Stone collection to that. So, we have a real live store. And don't just shop the Crimson King. Don't just shop the Stone line. Definitely visit the Crimson Kings merchandise as well. That's my business partner is an HBCU alum as well. He went to Livingstone College. His name is Antwan Blunt. So, he's doing some things, he's trying to build his brand and grow his brand. So, we're working together. But honestly, Twan, how the Stone really came about, man, listen, I was on my way to Atlanta, me and Antwan, right? Me and Blunt. And I'm like, bro, we really should make a t-shirt or something, for homecoming, because I'm tired of coming to homecoming and spending $200 and $300 for the weekend, and I have nothing to show for it. So I already had the vision of what I wanted the logo to look like and how I wanted it. What happened next was just basically just taking the steps of learning how to maneuver in this fashion industry. So, this is the chenille print one. This is our second release, but our third. Our first release was heat press vinyl, right? That we did strictly word of mouth through social media, and we sold over 100 units, right? It was t-shirts and hoodies. That was the first homecoming, right? So then the second year, we couldn't do homecoming because COVID came. And so, we had like a homecoming Christmas sale where, these were released. So then this year we did hoodies, right? So hold on, I grabbed one. We did hoodies this year, right? So this is what they look like. Those are the hoodies for Livingstone College. And, it's just the Stone. That's why we put the Stone on there because, that's where we went. And, we're just trying to grow our brand, but it's not about really growing our brand. It's really about bringing awareness to the HBCU culture. And it's not just for Livingstone College. Like we said, we're planning to start working with other schools. So, it's about bringing awareness to all HBCUs. It's not always about the Howards and the Hamptons and the North Carolina A&Ts, and I have no problem with those schools at all. I think they're very prestigious universities. But what I don't want to happen is, as this HBCU culture matriculates, we can't forget about the smaller schools. We can't forget about the private schools, because if you hear history about HBCUs, this is where a lot of African Americans got their first chance at education, was through the HBCU sector. So we just can't concentrate on the commercial HBCUs. We really have to look at, the HBCUs who are not often talked about.
Well, shout out to this next. I'm gonna say this. Shout out to John C. Smith. But if you make one for them, I will disown you for about 2 weeks. Just
No,
like
I'm not going. I'm not going. I don't even say that school name. That's just
oh,
a school on
okay.
Betty's Ford. That rivalry runs deep.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
would never
it's too thick. Like if you do
right.
that, I'm gonna feel like you betrayed us or something.
No, but shout out to Lex Bibbs. He has taken over the fashion industry for Johnson C. Smith
Okay.
and making alumni apparel for them. That's a young brother that I feel like, even though he is from that school on Betty's Ford, he's definitely a young man who really has his handprint on the city of Charlotte, from the Johnson C. Smith institution to the Charlotte Mecklenburg School District, and even in his community. So he would definitely be a good guest to have on here as well.
Well, I guess if you recommend him, get me in contact with him, have him come on. We can have that rivalry talk because I think I haven't invited anybody. I got a couple A&T people that I need to invite because they keep talking like they're the best. So it's two schools that 85 that I just be like, y'all keep forgetting that we're directly in the middle. We bridge the gaps of all these institutions. So stop acting like we're not the most important thing here.
Right. We are the fathers, the grandfathers of, I want to say, HBCU athletics. Definitely HBCU football with Livingstone College and Johnson C. Smith, known then as Biddle College, hosted the first HBCU football game in front of Livingstone College in that big field. So this rivalry runs deep. This is history, not just for Livingstone and Johnson C. Smith, but for all HBCU football. And I have to do my homework. I want to say HBCU athletics. So I just have to check on that first. But yeah, there's some history here. So when those bigger schools get to talking, let them know y'all wouldn't have no football team if we hadn't paved the way.
That's my claim to fame. That you can't. Yeah, HBCU football was started and created in Salisbury, North Carolina. Check the facts. So I get
tell
it.
them again, man.
Check
Tell
the
them again.
facts. So that I can't. I don't got nothing else. I told you I got friends that go to Lincoln. They be like, "We the first." I'd be like, "But y'all wouldn't have sports without us." So, but it doesn't.
They are the first HBCU. Lincoln up there in PA. But a lot of that is tied to the fact that in Pennsylvania, slaves were free. I mean, black people were free, in the North, so they were able to get those educations. So that's why they're free. But, we really have an impact on, the culture at hand. And, I mean, what's the CIAA without Livingstone? I mean, to be quite honest, you know what I mean? Like, what is the CIAA without Livingstone? Or the Stone?
As we all know, it's formally known. But, man, listen, I don't have anything else for you. I like to keep it short, like keep it sweet. I think you done gave the people more than they asked for. So you got anything else to add before we shut this quick conversation down?
Only thing I would like to add is that first off, let me soft plug myself. I have a podcast called the Exactly My Point podcast. It's right there at the bottom. If you guys will follow me, I think you will really find it entertaining as well as informative. Right now, our focus is on Black economics here in the Kansas City metropolitan area. So our next couple segments will be based on Black economics, and we will be having networking events here. So Antwan, when the summer, Dr. Brown, when the weather permits and it gets a little better, I'm inviting you to Kansas City. Some good barbecue, some great events, and have you on my podcast. But I have some other things I would like to talk to you about, like Black Men in Education is a segment that I'm working on. So before I get out of here, I just like to say, man, I really appreciate you having me on your platform. I'm not just representing Livingstone College, I'm representing the HBCU sector. So that's why this means so much to me, and I look forward to the due diligence I do, not just to Livingstone, but to the HBCU community.
Hey, Rich, man, I couldn't have keep doing you, man. It's a lot of us out here. It's a lot of young boys that don't understand that representation really matters. And then there's a lot of people in the world that only see bad representation. And brother, you are not that. You've always been a down to earth, look like you always on top of your business. I appreciate you coming and sharing all this good information on my platform. When I called, you always answer. Stop worrying about that shirt. I know you want to get it to me, but you got sales to make, and I'm just here to help you with that. So
nah, brother, it's not about that, man. Listen, to whom much is given, much is required. And like, we created this line, not like we said about money. It's not about the money aspect. We're doing this out of love. We're doing this out of a sense of pride for our institution. So, I'd be honored to give you with one, man. It's not about the money for us because, like we say, man, do all things with love. So I do this with love. But again, man, we're going to be fresh while we're doing it. And so while you're at the CIAA tournament, I'm going to try to get this in the mail to you tomorrow, see if I can overnight it so you can have it to represent as we take on them, that school on 85, that school on Betty's Ford on Wednesday.
Cool. Yeah. That's because that game's Wednesday. So, yeah.
Yeah.
I need it for Wednesday.
I already know, man. But listen, man, the HBCU culture is a family. I encourage everybody to do their due diligence by their HBCU. If you can't give financially, at least give your time. There are young men and women there at this school who could use the insight, who could use the advice. They're trying to trailblaze for some of their families. I'm an educator, so a lot of these young men and women who are coming into these institutions now are first generation college students. So I think it's up to us if we want to change the trajectory of our prospective institutions, then we have to do that work. And so I'm just encouraging everybody, again, if you can't be financial, at least donate your time or your service or your gift to give back to your school.
And just like that, I'm going to let him go. Hey.
All right, Twan, get with me, man.
Thank you, man. Hey, thanks for the invite. I definitely would. I haven't been that way in a while. Let's see. Went to St. Louis. I don't think I've ever been to Kansas City.
Bro, that's not.
No, St. Louis.
That's not even the city. We don't count that. You gotta come to the city. You gotta come to Kansas City. You gotta come to the city. The town is what we call it, man. So look, we're gonna work it out, man. Get you out here sometime this summer. But man, I'm really humbled that you had me on your platform, man. I look forward to working with you.
Hey, man, I'm glad you are. I appreciate you, and I stick around for a second. We chop it up before we go. Okay.
Say no more.
All right. That's my man, Livingstonian, Black Zach, Mr. Richard Williams. Well, all his stuff that's on all his social media platforms he mentioned. Go back and watch this information. Here we go. At the Stone clothing line. You got the other one. Yeah, that one. Across there on for his podcast. Make sure you follow that brother. Smart, educated, Black man that's doing great things. Clothing line, educator. I couldn't be I'm just at awe sometimes of all the different aspects that we go through, that we go into from Livingstone College. Like it's really a hub of creative, inspirational Black people. So I love that school. It saved my life, yada, yada, yada. So as I always close this show out, I am running for state delegate. I need your help. $1, $2, $5 to everything matters. So you can go to my website, www.antwancbrown.com. Look over the information. Vote for this Black man that's trying to change his district, his state, and the people that lives in. Can't do it without you. Find out who I am by going through that, and you also can go back and listen to some of the other shows to find out more about who I am. State delegate, Legislative District 26, hashtag Team ACB for delegate. Make sure you follow it. Make sure you do all that. Promote the show. Make sure y'all go out and follow Rich on all his platforms. Make sure you blow up everything we know. I'm proud to call myself your friend. I appreciate you stopping by as always. Until we meet in 2 weeks, I don't know that date. I always be forgetting. But in 2 weeks, we'll be back for more with another guest holding us down like we do. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks on the next show. Have a good night.